What's going on, everyone? Welcome to this edition of Kriegs Korner. It's Corner with a K. I'm your host, Adam Krieger, and we just wrapped up Super Bowl Sunday. I'm recording on Monday, February 8th. Later on in the show, I'm bringing back on Scotty Ice. We will be talking about our six packs results of the week. Spoiler, neither of us had a great weekend, but me and Scott, we're going to break that down in a little bit. Anyway, before we get to that, I just wanted to talk about I think what's captivating this entire sports world right now, and especially the day after the Super Bowl, is GOAT talk. Greatest of all time. Who is it? What sport are they in, etc.? What qualifies you to be the GOAT? There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And to be honest, I think it's a very, to be honest, it was a played out debate because before it was pretty much between LeBron and Jordan. And for their sports, obviously NBA, Jordan has six championships and LeBron's coming up. I think LeBron's got four now at this point. But Tom Brady won his seventh, making him one of the most dominant quarterbacks or dominant athletes, and at least in my lifetime. I was born in '97, so I missed a lot of the Jordan era. We got a little taste of it with The Last Dance that was aired on ESPN last summer. But I'm going to talk a little bit of GOAT talk right now. To be honest, I think this is a very open-ended debate. You can go many different sports and many different avenues. You can go worldwide versus American sports. So I can only speak about what I know, and that's American sports in the last, 20-ish years. Like I said, I was born in '97. I'm 23 right now, but most of my sports memories didn't really start until 2002-ish when I was five, and I can start remembering things like that. However, there's one thing that I need to make very, very clear. When we have GOAT talks, so to say, you cannot include WWE wrestlers. Now, I think this is relatively obvious, very much to me. For starters, I hate WWE because I think it gives a bad name to wrestling, what's real wrestling, which is college and Olympic style, freestyle, folk style, Greco. So anytime someone mentions WWE, I just have a distaste to it. I never liked it growing up. Was never really into that, but I understand that is a huge, huge part of many people's lives, including my generation. I had tons of friends that watched WWE. It was appointment television for them, on TV. I think it was Raw Monday nights. It was on USA Network later in my life, but like I said, I was never really into it. However, I reference our Slack channel a little bit for Vendetta, and so we were just kind of all talking, um, in the random channel that has pretty much every employee from Vendetta, or when I say employee, I mean intern, contributor, freelancer, whoever is part of the company is in there. And I've read the single most idiotic take in the world. And it's a shame because I wanted to have this person on to debate this with me because I think it's a good conversation to have, even though it's not an actual real debate, in my opinion at least. This kid was adamant, adamant that John Cena and Ric Flair are better than Tom Brady. Now, regardless of how you feel about Tom Brady and the Patriots, listen, take it from me. I'm a Jets fan. Brady, for the last 20 years of his career, just kicked the shit out of me every single year, twice a year. I saw it more than anyone else. I saw what Belichick and Brady did. But to me, after 28-3, when he came back against the Atlanta Falcons, there was no doubt in my mind that he was the single greatest football player I've ever seen in my life. And now with his seventh championship ring that he got on Sunday, I think he is the GOAT in my mind. Now, when you talk WWE, you talk John Cena, Ric Flair, The Rock, all these guys. However, they are on a scripted television show. Vince McMahon pulls the strings. Everything about that is fake, except their injuries and their athletic ability. However, they are not quote unquote competitors going after championships. It does not exist. It's not real. So anyone who says that WWE stars should be in contention for GOAT talk, they're just a fucking idiot. just a flat out idiot, and I can't have it any other way. I'm not even gonna say the kid's name because he was scared about clicks and didn't want to come on here to he didn't want to have a spirit. He didn't want to have a debate. I don't understand that. He wanted to use his words behind a Slack channel. I don't get that, and I think that's kind of something that my specific age group suffers with a lot. Is they don't like to have face-to-face conversations. They don't like to be told they're wrong. So he did not like that, and his reason for that being for them being the GOAT is that it's not fake though. It's more physical than any other. Their injuries are real and not scripted. They put more pressure on their bodies than any athletes in the world. Cool. You can jump 25 feet onto a padded ring all you want. I don't care. You are not playing in the Super Bowl. You are not playing in NBA championships. Those outcomes are predetermined. He could have 16, 2, he could have 150 championships. They could have 4 championships a year. He's still not even close to the greatest athlete of all time. Now, the rest of this GOAT talk, I completely understand, is extremely biased because I'm only an American sports fan. I can't speak to soccer. I can't speak to international golf or anything like that. However, so that's kind of where this goes. To me, it goes after this weekend, Brady, Jordan, anyone else. And like I said, it's my bias. I'm a football fan, a baseball fan, slightly a basketball fan. Oh, I'm sorry. And also Gretzky's in the mix as well. I think someone said he has 60, he at one point held 63 scoring records in the NHL. That's literally insane. Tom Brady holds damn near every record for NFL winning percentages and all that stuff. But Gretzky, I can 100%, I will have a debate with you all day about it. Mostly because I don't know. I don't know enough. I love to be educated. However, like I said, just going back to the WWE shit, keep that shit out of my face. And be a man and come on the show and discuss it with me. I offered to go on his show, or sorry, I shouldn't say his show. He's the co-host of a show. It's not his show. So he declined my invitation. I invited him on mine. He said no, he didn't want to give me the views. Fine, fair enough. Guess what? I'll come give you the views. I'll come on your show and tell you you're an idiot to your face. Decline that too. Kind of soft in my mind. Like I said, I'm not going to say names, but you're listening to this, you know exactly who you are. So that's kind of my opening segment. Next up, Scotty Ice. We're going to talk about our props, our losers, our winners, the game, all that fun stuff. So thanks for listening to this edition of Kriegs Korner with the K. Enjoy Scotty Ice.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kriegs Korner. That's Corner with the K. I'm your host, Adam Krieger, and I am joined by my boy, Scotty Ice. Scott, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm back. I'm in one piece. The bets last night didn't go too great, but 3-4 overall. Like it could have been a lot worse. So
3-4 overall sounds like a pretty good day. It could have been. Listen, like you said, it could have been a lot worse. To be honest,
isn't that sad, dude? Like 3-4 is a winning day in my book, just because I didn't lose everything.
That's literally how it goes. As long as you're gambling responsibly and living life, it's okay. Did it help your enjoyment of the game or hurt your enjoyment of the game?
I mean, everybody I was with was losing money left and right. So, I think, I mean, uh, I can't imagine. I mean, like, obviously, if you bet on the Bucks, you feel great. But like, just I feel like the Super Bowl is mostly about props. Everyone's taking the obscure props, and I just feel like nothing hit.
Yeah, it was a
At
weird
least,
year. What
yeah.
everyone thought it seemed like was going to happen was the Chiefs were going to. Everyone, I mean, for the most part, I think that everyone thought the Chiefs were going to win, and all their props were aligned with that, and obviously it did not happen that way. So we'll hop right into it. The game recap. Um, so obviously the Bucks won, beat the Chiefs. Mahomes didn't even score a touchdown. Um, you gave out the under. That was a big win on your side. I know that was not how we thought it was going to go. That's not how we thought the under was going to hit. But how did you think the game was? Do you think it was boring? Seen a lot of boring talk on the socials today.
I mean, it was boring in the sense that like once the Bucks went up by what was it, like 15 at the half. Um, you kind of felt like the Chiefs needed to score on the opening drive of the second half to make it a game. They only got three, and the Bucks went right down and got seven, and it was over. Like it felt over at that point. When the Chiefs never got going on offense, the Bucks were in the backfield all game. Mahomes was limping like pretty early. He had no time to throw. And on the other side, Brady seemed to have all day. He had guys open everywhere. I mean, if you take out that fourth and goal stop, where I really like that fourth and goal, like
Dude,
I would say in the moment,
it's
like
crazy that they didn't have a camera angle for that. Like Nance and Romo, like briefly were like, "Oh, like we don't." I thought they were joking, to be honest. Like, how does the NFL not have a camera on each goal line to make that sure, make
I
that
don't know, but it
make
seemed
sure
like
that
he should have got in, dude. Like I really feel like he just got to lean forward. You can't be stuffed there. It was a smaller guy.
I thought that was gonna be the turning point of the game because
Me
once the
too. Me
Bucks got
too.
stopped, the Chiefs had to go 99 yards and they got a first down. They got their backs out of the end zone, but just like nothing happened. And
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing about the Chiefs is that in theory they're never really out of a game. We've seen them come back from major deficits all year. Obviously they haven't covered too much in the end of the regular season. Obviously didn't cover in the Super Bowl, but something about Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, that offense makes it seem like it's never, ever gonna die. Except it just was dead from the start. I mean, and I guess the big talk is that the tackles they had replacement left and right tackles, and that's obviously a huge difference. And we saw that make an impact when the Bucks were just rushing four and getting there, and that
Yeah.
makes life so crazy. Um,
Yeah. You rush forward, you double Kelsey, double Tyreek, and you're getting to him. Like
when you have a
Mahomes
spy
couldn't do anything.
when you have a spy over the top, and that was the other thing. Mahomes is clearly hurt. I'm sure in the next coming days we're going to hear how hurt he was. We knew about the turf toe,
Yeah.
and I think in the next week or two we're going to hear a lot more about that. I'm sure he's going to undergo surgeries and stuff. It's a weird thing for him because his fiance was due yesterday, so I don't know. As of now, they haven't had the kid, but just a crazy few days for him. I'm sure he's going to get surgery soon. It's not like, they're playing in
Yeah.
late February. They're going to have a season, but I'll have a few talking points. Do you think the refs were bad? Give me your thoughts on the first half? Because obviously they swallowed their whistle in the second half, but it didn't really matter at that point.
Um. So I thought that pass interference at the end of the first half when they gave Evans that like 40-yard completion. I thought he stumbled first, and then the defender kind of tripped him, but I think he was already on his way down and he wasn't making that catch. And I think it was a really tough call, but I think it was the wrong call, and it made a huge difference in the game, obviously. Um, I mean, the Chiefs were going to go down, what was it, like 14-6 at halftime, if there were no more points scored there compared to 21-6. So I think, in that moment, like I wish like, they had some sort of review system where they could just like survey the people in one bar, where I feel like everyone in a bar, like a neutral bar where no one's a Chiefs fan or a Bucks fan, is going to agree. Like, you can't call that. That's going to swing the game. But
I
in
was that
fast motion, it looked like he tripped him. So
Yeah, that was the only one to me that I thought could have gone either way. Everything else, obviously, it doesn't look great on paper when they're all so one-sided. But Romo said it after the first penalty they called that the Chiefs secondary loves to hold, and if he knew that, that means everyone knew that. That means the Bucks told him
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
The Bucks told him that in their pregame meeting, and that means the refs knew it and they were extra looking out for it. Obviously,
Yep.
we wish it could have been a little more balanced, but when you commit penalties, you're going to get burned. And
Of
the
course.
stat that Romo said, like 30%, you score 30% of the time on one penalty and 70% of the time on two penalties on drive is ludicrous. I'd never even heard that
Yeah,
before,
that's
but
a wild stat. I mean,
you're going to see like Tom Brady does Tom Brady things, and I gave out the over. I was obviously did not hit, but like I
you
said,
got to feel good about the over.
what you can't, yeah, over was not fun, and because the over would have looked great if Mahomes or anyone had a little bit of life to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So before we
Uh,
get into the props and recapping that, I did want to talk a little bit of GOAT talk. So it's the big talking point today, along with obviously the weekend memes running around social and all that. But to me, Tom, and I'll say this before, I have a bias. I'm only 23. My most recent sports memories are from like my earliest sports memories from like 2002, 2003, that kind of stuff. But so I missed the Jordan saga. To me, Brady's the GOAT. At this point, there's no disputing it.
in any
There's,
sport,
I think he's the GOAT. How I do it
that's the
comes with
greatest athlete.
the greatest athlete. That comes with the bias because I'm not a soccer fan. Soccer is not one of my sports. Tennis isn't my forte. I know Serena or and the Williams. Serena Williams is up in that conversation, and obviously Gretzky is one of those two. Jordan, but give me your quick little thoughts on that. And I swear to God, Scott, if you say someone WWE superstar, I'm gonna literally end the show right now.
Yeah, that's. I haven't checked the Slack in a couple of days, but you were saying that the Slack has a couple kids talking about some wrestlers as the greatest
Just
athlete,
just
but
one fucking idiot. That's it.
I'm not even gonna entertain that because I mean
Thank you.
I'm not a wrestling guy, but I'm pretty sure that wrestling is fake, so I don't even want to
Not
talk
pretty
about it.
sure it is definitely fake. Okay, continue. Sorry,
I
I
don't
said
want
my
to talk
piece.
about it. It's funny. So I'm actually pretty anti Brady. Like I'll take the other argument. Like I'll argue for even other quarterbacks over Brady. I feel like Brady always had the best teams. Like you never see or you rarely see his team giving up 35 points in playoff games compared to like how many times did Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers just not have the defense to keep up. But that being said, like obviously Brady, you know, I saw some stupid stat like he has a better chance of making the Super Bowl than Steph Curry has of making a fucking 3-pointer. So like I'm
Insane.
I'm not here to hate on Brady. Obviously, his career is the greatest ever. Just in the NFL, he's had the best career like winning wise. So if you value rings above all else, then of course he's your goat. I personally don't, but some of the things that I saw on Twitter today were like a lot of people fighting back on the whole Brady is the GOAT athlete, and they were bringing up Serena Williams because she's got 23 titles compared to Brady's 7. And that shit, like, I woke up so pissed, dude, because, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but in tennis, there's 4 major titles every single year. So, like, Serena gets 4 cracks, and, like, she had a few utterly dominant years where she, at some point she actually won 4 in a row. She, like, was defending every single tournament in one year. So she is incredible. And if you want to call her your GOAT, like that's fine. But to argue that her 23 is more than 7 when she gets 4 cracks a year to add to her tally and Brady gets 1 is just like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And it's just basic 3rd grade math. So that pissed me off today.
It's good to know. I thought you were going to be, and I knew in the back of my head I knew there was 4 Grand Slams a year, but I never even really thought about it like that. That you get 4 cracks a year. So, and if by that math, Brady would be, he's been in the Super Bowl 21 years. If he would have had the shot for 84 championships, I'm sure he would have
Exactly.
taken some. All right,
Yeah,
you
right.
continue.
I mean, if you give LeBron like 3 chances a year, what's he gonna have? He would have 15 rings by now. You'd think like
Yeah, he'd be 4-24 or 12-24, some
yeah.
garbage
So
like that.
I mean, I if you want to talk about like Serena's dominance versus her sport, like there's numbers there to back it up. I mean, she has been on top of the game for as long as Brady has. Like she's been, even when she doesn't win, she'll lose in the final, she'll lose in the semis. I think she's only ever lost 1 first round in any major in her. I mean, how has she played? She must be over 100, like or close to it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from her. Like, she's the greatest women's tennis player of all time. Maybe if you want to say she's the greatest tennis player, like the greatest career of all time, like I'll give you that. But to just say that she's a GOAT because of her number of titles while she gets an extra 3 cracks a year really pissed me off today. So put me in a bad mood.
It's good to know.
I don't love the cross sport debate. It's because I think everything's different. I mean, tennis you're playing by yourself. It's 1v1. Football, I mean, Brady's got a whole team, and whether or not he's always had the most talented team, because he hasn't. I mean, he's won rings where he's had no weapons. Like we've seen that in recent years where he's been missing weapons. But I like to think that Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time. So
100%, no doubt in my mind.
He certainly hasn't had the shortest end of the stick when you look at some other quarterbacks or some other superstars in other games where their teammates weren't good enough or they never had the right coach. But no, I don't want to take anything away from either player because they're both fucking awesome, and we should embrace their greatness because they're both going to be gone soon. Like they'll be retired, and we'll just have their memory.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's something that I would have argued that he wasn't the GOAT for a long, long time. After he came back against the Falcons, 20-3, that famous game, I thought that there's really nothing you could put past him anymore. Obviously, this year to me, like if you're gonna stack up all Brady championships, this year probably gets an asterisk because this talent top to bottom was incredible. His offense wasn't even the best unit on the field, and he's had guys like Mike Evans, Gronk, Antonio Brown, Godwin. The stat that stood out to me most in this game was Antonio Brown has the most touchdown receptions since 2017, including the playoffs, and he literally was he wasn't even on an NFL roster for a year. Like that,
Yeah.
that is crazy. And I didn't really think about that. He obviously played in Pittsburgh with the great team, but just he might be one of the most underrated receivers just because he's such a fucking loony bin.
Yeah. I mean, he was, I think, ahead of last year. I don't think anybody would have argued that he wasn't the best receiver. I think he was far and away number one, and it was like a battle between Hopkins and Julio for number two, and that crew. But AB, like, I mean, he's hurt himself by being a bad person and doing some shitty things. So I don't feel bad for him at all because I really feel like he brought it all onto himself.
Oh, 100%.
No
Everything
sympathy.
he did against himself.
But the fact that he was like their fourth option on offense, like, I mean, that team was fucking loaded.
And their fifth option was Gronk. Like,
Yeah.
was Rob Gronkowski, who was literally, I say he's still better than Travis Kelce because his ability to block and a true tight end is something that we take for granted in this league because we've been, at least for me, I've grown up with Gronk as like the guy, but Gronk having 2 touchdowns was super fitting. I think Gronk first touchdown was like plus two grand almost. Imagine giving that one out. For him to score 2 touchdowns is probably like plus 4,500, some crazy shit like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, that team was loaded. I mean, the defense saved him versus Green Bay. I thought Brady threw 3 picks, a couple ugly ones, and then Rodgers would just go 3 and out, and Tampa's getting the ball back. So I mean, listen, he picked the right team. He was a free agent. The man's a genius. Like, he knew what he was doing the whole time. You can't convince me he didn't. Like,
no state income tax down there. He got his highest salary he's ever gotten as a player. I mean,
and he knew there was talent through the roof. So,
and he knew that they had the flexibility to get the guys that he wanted. I mean, Brown, and for some reason, Antonio Brown is his boy. I can't tell you why.
I don't know.
But him and Gronk, just bringing them down, and we forget about Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is a top 5 receiver. Doesn't really seem that way anymore. He was quiet in this game, but it was just a crazy game. I wouldn't say the game was boring just because you never know what you're going to get with the Chiefs and that they can literally turn it around in 2 seconds. But when your front four is getting that much pressure and you can have 7 guys back in coverage and the linebackers for Tampa Bay led by Devin White is just incredible. So we're going to get into going over some of our props and stuff. I will say before I get into too much, I texted Scott about this had to have been Saturday. There was a little national anthem leakage to the public, so a lot of the lines got taken down. So if you were waited till Sunday morning to my blog went up, the odds were probably a lot different than what they were when I gave them out. But I'm taking my odds, and boy oh boy,
You take your victory.
I was
This
fucking
came out when?
spot on. I think
You were.
oh,
This came out early.
the podcast came out Thursday night, and Friday morning
Okay.
it was 100% live on YouTube. But if you listen on Spotify or any other podcast networks, it was out Thursday night. You can listen to it. You can get my odds. You could have locked it in there. I couldn't have been more right. I mean, I think the two people had a little effect on it, but America needed a nice long national anthem today. All right. So we're gonna start with Scott's picks, Scotty Ice's picks. So you said you went, what'd you go? 3 and 5?
I think it was. I'm gonna one. I mean, I can run through them real quick.
I put up 6 picks for here, but all right, I'll go through your props. Largest lead in the game under 14.5. I truly think you got robbed of that one. Like we were talking about earlier with that Mike Evans touchdown. I don't think the game would have gotten so out of hand if that didn't happen. That brought it to 15.
Yeah, me neither.
That made it a loser.
I mean, there were some other things where like the Chiefs had the ball with like under 2 minutes left, and they ended up getting a field goal, but like there was a first down pass when like Tyreek Hill went out of bounds, but they were inside the 20. Like they had so much time. He didn't have to get out of bounds. You got to run the clock there. I mean, you don't want to give Brady. I mean, Brady had under a minute. You got to think he's not getting 6. Like maybe he'll get 3 if they get a couple first downs. But the Chiefs called all 3 of their timeouts in that possession. Tampa was trying to run the fucking clock out. They had 3rd and 2. KC calls that timeout, and then Brady hits that Evans PI deep, and I mean, at that point, you knew you were fucked. It was all spiraling downhill.
Yeah, I talked about that with Trey, but the greatest coach stuff. On my appearance on his show, and he was trying to tell me that Reed could be in the conversation with Belichick, and my biggest talking point was that this guy does not know how to use his timeouts, and we literally saw that again today in the biggest moment, or Sunday. We saw it again, the biggest moment. His game management skills are just not what they could be. All right.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, I can run through them real quick. I lost my largest lead in the game under. I had margin of victory under 7.5. Obviously a loss. Both teams. My favorite one, like favorite bet. I really thought it was 100% was that the game was going to be tied after 0-0. I was like so sure. Everyone rode that too, dude. Everyone in my house rode that. And, like there were a few chances too. Like the Chiefs went up 3-0. They had Tampa in a couple third downs on that drive, like inside the 30. Just couldn't get a stop. But then the game got to like 7-3, and then KC never
once you get those weird numbers, it's like that kind of fell off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you gave out.
So that one hurt.
Yeah. Both teams to kick a 32+ yard field goal. That one did cash. That one almost cashed earlier in the game. I actually had a false tweet. I had to later take it down. I texted you as well. I thought that it was 2 field goals over 30, whatever it was. I was just wrong. I felt I had to delete that, but that did end up cashing. I mean, listen, that was the only way the Chiefs got points was with their field goals. Now these are the ones I'm not too sure about. Go.
No, I was gonna say if I had lost after that guy hopped off sides, or he didn't even hop off sides, dude. He lined up off sides. They never fucking call that. I don't know why the refs had to feel the need to call that shit. Like, that's the stuff I hate about football, when they call flags like that no one would have ever known.
Speaking about the fucking refs, I wanted to bring this up quickly. Darren Ravel, do you follow him on Twitter?
Yeah, of course.
You see that fucking dumbass tweet he had about the first female refs ever and her kid? Like, he tweeted that. He tweeted that twice before the game. He said that. Fun fact, whatever her name was, I'm an idiot for not knowing. I'm unprepared. Anyway, fun fact, her first son's name is Brady, who's 16 and happened after Tom Brady won his 2nd Super Bowl. Just like imagine the fucking idiocy in your brain to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tweet this out. He's got a gigantic platform. Like, why even insinuate that? You just fucking knock her down or peg for no reason. Obviously, it has nothing to do with it. She's from Mississippi. Like, she has no Tom Brady rooting interest. It was just like, All right, sorry, I have to get that off my chest.
And even not,
That guy's the
even
fucking
if she
worst.
did,
Like she wouldn't be
even
an
if
NFL
she
ref if
loves
she was
Brady, like,
unbiased.
yeah, exactly.
She has to do her job. Everyone
Now,
was watching her.
yeah, Ravel's always good for those kind of tweets that piss everyone off. He gets a bad rap on Twitter.
Dude,
People bully his ass, which I don't love.
he
But
does get the shit into the stick a lot, but like times like this, he literally. I mean, when you tweet shit like that, you literally deserve it.
yeah, I agree.
Now, these are the ones I'm waiting to hear from you on because I honestly I didn't fact check them. Tyreek Hill plus 24.5 yards versus the Nuggets. That cash?
Nope, that was no L.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, I figured maybe he'd get a few garbage time points when they were literally chasing, but he dropped a few. He dropped a touchdown, literally went through
Yeah,
his hands.
I felt good. So the Nuggets scored 114 in that game. So, I would have, I think Tyreek's over under was 94.5. So, I was getting 4 yards of like Vegas value there. And I expected him to get a bunch of touches. He just couldn't get open. Mahomes had no time to throw. They were doubling Tyreek, and it was too easy. He not really a factor.
It all goes back to that 4-man rush getting there when you can win. This is a Todd Bowles thing. I wish he could have been a better coach in New York with the Jets. I think he's going to get another head coaching opportunity soon. Obviously not this year because all their vacancies are filled, but I can definitely see him getting an offer soon. But I mean, when you can get there
Yeah,
before, he looks like the best coach in the world. But like, listen, it's not that hard to know. You got to double Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce if you can get there. If you have 7 guys,
yeah, no, and they have some good fucking pass rushers. Like,
yeah, I mean, his team is just incredible.
yeah, it was a stacked team, but good for him. He had the hand dealt to him, and he did great. He shut down Rodgers, he shut down Mahomes. Like he beat up Drew Brees. Like the man killed it. So I think has another shot. I mean, there's been plenty of coaches, even Belichick, like their first gig didn't really work out. But I mean, you got to give guys another opportunity.
Yep. All right, your last one from your 6-pack. Super Bowl first half points minus 0.5 versus Harden's points. How'd that one do?
That one hit. Dude, I almost got fucked there because right before the game, I don't know if you saw what happened to Kevin Durant.
I heard about it, but I'm not. He got what is he going on and off the court? They couldn't
Yeah,
make their minds.
it was so stupid that they even ever let him go on the court. But once you go on the court to pull him off, that just makes no sense to me. But so whatever. He had to like stay quarantined for a few days, so he didn't end up playing in that game. Kyrie got a little dinged up or a little load management, so he didn't play. So suddenly my whole reasoning for taking Harden under points is because he's passing Durant and Kyrie. But I had locked that in early, so I got fucked there. But he still only scored 26. So it's funny. We both think that I probably lost the largest lead bet because of that stupid touchdown at the end of the first half, but it actually cashed me the Harden bet. So a little lucky there. But I also, would have been a bad beat considering Durant and Curry both weren't playing for him to, just take off and go over like that. Would have been kind of fucked up.
I didn't even know that they weren't playing. I saw the Durant thing going all over Twitter about him on and off the court, and I mean we're not going to talk COVID, but just like so far every single major league's like when I say major league, I mean the 4 major U.S. sports, the policies and what they've been doing are just literally ridiculous. The NHL isn't offering tests. Like the Hurricanes right now are literally playing with a man down because of like the COVID rules and the salary cap.
Exactly.
It's just fucking ridiculous. All right. So where'd you go? You went
3 and 4.
3 and 4, and then that includes the under winner. All right.
Yeah.
So now we'll go to my 6.
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Dude, I lost so much juice. So much juice in the 2-point conversion attempt. And it really should have happened. If the Chiefs scored in the last drive of the game, they definitely would have gone for 2 to try and make it, a 2-touchdown square game. And all I needed was just an attempt. And with 15 points, like that's kind of the situation you want to be in because the numbers will tell you you're better off going for it the first time and the second time. And I had literally had it handicapped. I thought down to a T, but obviously didn't go. I briefly talked about this one a little bit earlier. The national anthem over, got a little bit of my juice back. That was plus 105. So, I'm still down 0.4 units at this point. Now, this one I really think was probably my sharpest gambling pick I've ever given out. Under 10.5
Let's hear.
third-point conversions. I had
Oh,
it.
third down. Yeah.
I had it spot on. I think we finished up around 8 or 9. I stopped counting, but it was incredible. I got a little nervous early because there were 3 in the first quarter, but
Mm-hmm.
once I could have gone burned because in those garbage time points, Buck defenses are playing soft.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bucks
The
defense just
garbage
never played
chunks.
soft. They just kept
Yeah,
going.
they
They
didn't.
literally had their head down and they made plays no matter what. The tackling was incredible. And I mean, I got really lucky with a bunch of drops. Kelsey dropped 3. One of them hit him in the face. Tyreek Hill dropped a few more.
What
Um,
were those odds?
uh, that was -115, so pretty much just straight up.
Cool.
So
Hey,
it,
man,
it
you
was
just
just an
take
over
what you can
under.
take.
Listen, I'll take my winners. And now this is where stuff gets silly. Um, like I talked about this a little bit earlier. We both predicted that I was going to be a quarterback winning the MVP. So
Yep.
I knew I was just taking a bunch of flyers. So you have 3 Super Bowl MVPs as well as any defensive MVP. But so those are all losers. I guess I'll count them all as each a play. Even though if
No. I think combined that's probably one
it's one, all
one
right,
L.
then I'll take my any defensive MVP. That's also another L. I gave that out. To be honest, I thought Devin White could have snuck that one up at the end with that interception. And
Yeah.
also,
Eh.
we're talking about the refs earlier. That he looked like he tipped that ball that hit the ground. CBS briefly showed the replay. I was one of Mahomes' interceptions, and it was so late in the game, and Devin White wasn't going to argue with the female official on the side because they were up so much they didn't need anything. It wasn't worth it. I think if he would have 2 interceptions, that probably would have done it, especially because of how well that defense played and just their tackling. People were just trying to
Yeah.
say Todd Bowles should
That's
be
funny.
MVP. Obviously, that's
It's
not
funny
how
that
that
you were
works.
sweating that. You were sweating that, and I had already tuned out. All my shit was locked in. I didn't even care at that point, and you had a couple things that you were still sweating. That's awesome.
Yeah, the plus 750 would have been nice. It literally would have covered all my bets for the day. Um,
Yeah.
my teaser that I gave out also lost, and then the Gatorade color bath. Now this one I wasn't sure what to think of because we didn't see it on TV. And that's usually how I get all. That's usually how my bets are decided based off what I see on TV. And then probably about 10, 15 minutes later, the tweet started circulating. It was blue, plus 650. I did say it to you. No
Dude.
one actually drinks red Gatorade. So I should have known better.
To not show that on TV is just utterly ridiculous. I feel like even for non-gamblers, like you just love seeing the joy of dumping Gatorade on the coach. Like that's so much fun. Everyone looks forward to that,
Dude,
whether or not you have money on it.
Bruce Arians, oldest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl. I think in his first time, his mom was there. I don't know how the CBS cameras missed it. We talked a little bit about earlier. The
Awful.
CBS cameras were just like apparently non-existent, except they did get Tony
Someone's got to
Romo.
get fired.
Except they did see Tony Romo a little bit of drippage on his pants. That was kind of crazy. Um, what else? What else? That's pretty much it for the game. And then obviously I gave out Bucks money line, but I lost it. I lost the rest on my over and the teaser I gave out. So that pretty much covers it. Football season's over. It kind of happened
So
really quick. I, what's next? What do you watch for now?
dude, we gotta just grind it out up until March. We'll get those conference tournaments going right into March Madness, and that's just a really great time of the year. So it's a slow month. You gotta just suffer through some like end of regular season college basketball, some NBA. I'll be grinding, Australian Open every single night. That shit like starts at 6 p.m. and ends at like 8 a.m. So I'm falling asleep with the TV on, like waking up at 4 o'clock, watching a bit, going back to bed. I love it. Not a lot of people are built like that, but like I fucking love tennis.
Scotty's built different.
I did give out 2 futures. It's looking right now like both of them are going to get through the first round. So feeling good there.
Dude, it feels like that was
They
forever
are
ago.
they're on opposite sides of the draw. Sasha Zverev and
Oh,
Andrei Rublev. So it wouldn't be the craziest thing for them to meet in the finals, especially because Nadal is battling some back injuries. So Djokovic is obviously there, and he's the heavy favorite. But I think he's beatable. So I'm feeling okay with my picks right now. I think
Federer didn't
I
play,
got some good
right?
value in.
You said he was there, but he
Not
never
Federer's.
ended up playing.
Yeah, you know, he didn't end up. He he's battling like coming off a knee surgery. So he couldn't like sit in the hotel for 2 weeks and not ramp up. He hadn't played a match in a long time, so he was going to need to like train his way and like test his knee out. So these conditions weren't going to work for his comeback, but I think he's just about healthy, and he'll be back on the tour in a few weeks.
Are they like is him Djokovic? Like, are those guys too old? Like, when do we get curtains for those guys, or is their life in tennis a lot longer than it is in the other sports?
No, so I mean, these guys are the first case of like players like in their entering their mid 30s, still dominating. I mean, Federer's 39, and he's
Wow.
been like at the top of the game still, but he's not quite as dominant. Like, now it's like when he gets to the semis and the finals, everyone roots for him because he's more like an underdog story versus like, growing up when I was like 13, I used to root against him because he was so fucking dominant. I was like, let someone else win. But so, but he's easily the most beloved tennis player ever. But you got Djokovic and Nadal both like 33, 34, still at the top, but you know, they're in the process now of getting caught. Like they're getting beat more and more. Younger guys have belief. So tennis is fun, man. It's getting pretty exciting.
I'm actually a tennis guy. I watch the U.S. Open every year. With my parents. Obviously, I'm not staying up all night to watch Australian
Yeah,
Open.
no,
I'm not that into it, but I mean, I try and watch the U.S. Open every year. And I watched Wimbledon before. I mean, the craziest things I ever remember watching was when Andy Murray won in
oh my god.
it's Wimbledon's where he's from, right?
So
It's
he's
his.
he's from Scotland, but like part of the UK. That
Well,
shit
yeah,
was
whatever. He won in what I would consider his quote home turf, and that shit was.
for
I
sure.
remember watching just like that. To me, like nationalism and all that stuff is awesome. Like playing the Olympics is like was literally one of my dreams growing up because you get to represent your country.
Yeah,
So like him winning there, that was one of my coolest moments ever watching any sport in general. Because I don't have any
yep.
teams that have ever won a championship, but just like that type of authentic emotion is awesome. Um,
Yeah, man.
yeah, like I said, we're starting to get to that dead zone. But this is the time where you save up the money, you build up your bankroll, you get ready for your stupid MLB futures and March Madness, where literally everyone loses. You get your brackets ready, and
Exactly.
conference tournament time is right around the corner.
You get a
What else?
girlfriend, you take good care of her, and then you dump her in September.
Listen,
You take your 6 month break.
Valentine's Day is coming up, so
Exactly.
if you either it all depends if you had a good Super Bowl or a bad Super Bowl. Listen, if you followed my Bucks pick, hopefully you're having a little bit of a better Valentine's Day than the rest. All right. That's our show for today. Thanks for Scotty guys for joining me again. Scott, we're gonna see you soon. Are you gonna give me some gambling picks for what are you gonna do? We'll talk some tennis whenever you can, but I know we're like so it's a weird time to have
Oh,
a
dude, we're
gambling
coming
segment.
into yeah. I mean, if you want to go a couple weeks off, but we got some good like. I mean, right now we're 1 month away from like full swing March Madness. Conference tournaments. So we got some exciting stuff coming up. But yeah, it's gonna be a. I'll be grinding tennis. I'm gonna get some more articles up on the site soon. I had a weekend off where I was preoccupied with some other shit, but I've been scouring some lines. And I'll be back with some tennis picks, trying to boost that record up.
Yeah, like I said, Scotty is not Scotty's in his own life outside of this. He's doing this for the love of the game and just because he's wants to be an accountable person. He wants to give out his picks on a platform so we can all be tracked and all that fun stuff. I do remember what I wanted to say before. I just want to say a quick shout out, Ali Marpet, 914, lead blocker for the Tampa Bay Bucks on playoff Lenny's touchdown run. 914, baby. Hastings, it's right down the road
It's
from where we're
crazy.
from. It's
It's
literally
crazy.
crazy. I mean, this is not going to mean much to anyone except a few people, but you know, in the summer, you used to be able to go to Scenic Hudson, go play some pickup, and all of a sudden there's just like a fucking gigantic dude just hooping, and that was just Ali Marpet. Now he's just lead blocking for Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, winning the Super Bowl. Good for that man.
Yep. Him
All
and
right.
Eric Pascal and the Warriors. Those two, like,
I mean, I'll talk 914 pro athletes all day. I mean, Brett Pesci, a goal and
yeah, of
assist
course, of
yesterday.
course, of course, of course.
Um, on Super Bowl Sunday, I got a little bit overshadowed, but so just
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
shout out to 914. We're doing well. We got some guys all over. Pascal's the Warriors, Brett's on the Hurricanes.
Not even. I mean, that's just straight River Towns. That's all I care about. 914 is fine.
Fine, yeah. I got into not a little thing, but one of our local old high school beat reporters was tweeting about how Marpet was won the championship, and I just asked a simple question like, who else from our area did it? And the first response they got was Ray Rice, and I was like, all right, fuck that. I don't want to hear anything else. I only care about
Bro,
the
that's New Rochelle. That's not
I
our
only care about
problem.
the River Towns. All right, that'll
That
do
is
it for this
Southwest
edition
Chester.
of Kriegs Corner. That's Corner with the K. Thanks again for Scott for joining me. Have a good one, folks.